Well, joining me now is political journalist John Fund. John, thank you so much, as always, for joining me here on the U.S. Report. And I want to talk first about this big news of Cardinal Robert Prevost becoming the first American ever named Pope. Now, I'm still trying to get a read on him because he's said some things that could be seen as sort of woke. He's called Jesus a migrant. Some of his social media has been critical of J.D. Vance. But he was also a registered Republican in Illinois and voted in the 2024 presidential election, though we don't know how. John, what do you make, I know it's only hours old, but of the announcement of Pope Leo XIV?
Well, you can obviously read a lot into someone's prior statements or even what they retweet on X, but we do know this. The evidence is that the new Pope is extremely solicitous towards migrants. He believes in immigration, but at the same time, he is non-woke on issues such as trans rights, gay rights, traditional church doctrine. And he has expressed that. He's also criticized the Western news media for misrepresenting a lot of the positions the church has on controversial social issues. So we don't know what he thinks or what he believes, but we do know this. Illinois has no party registration. You can vote in any primary you want. So every time you go into the voting booth, you choose a party. The last time he voted in a Democratic primary was 15 years ago. Since then, he has voted consistently, and it's always been in the Republican primary. You can draw your own conclusion. I will just say this. Since I think Pope Francis was an extreme hardcore leftist, I think it's safe to say that he would not have been a Republican. I think we can say the church, in the form of the new Pope Leo, has shifted to the center. That much I think we're confident with.
And do you think, I know it's hard to talk about these things because we don't really know what happens inside the Sistine Chapel, but do you think there was a Trump effect at all at work when the cardinals and the conclave sat down and went through those four votes, ultimately settling on Leo?
I think there was a small impact there because this is someone who can speak to the Trump administration, who can speak to Americans of all persuasions. He's a unifying force. All Americans are proud. This is the first American Pope. But I think the far bigger factor was this. Pope Francis presided over a corrupt and completely collapsing financial system at the Vatican. There's a cover story in the Wall Street Journal this week that the budget deficit in the Vatican tripled under Pope Francis's reign. He tried to get a hold on it. He completely failed. A lot of the officials in the Vatican, shall we say, believe that 2 + 2 = 5, and they spend money away. So I believe the real strength that he brought is, as an administrator at the Vatican, he proved his stripes. He was only there a couple of years, but he showed that he can run a bureaucracy, he can manage a bureaucracy, and he won't let the staff run him. And I think that's the real reason he is the new Pope.
All right, well, very interesting. We'll see how this all plays out, but let's move to more American politics here, because President Joe Biden, former President Joe Biden, is on a bit of a rehabilitation tour. In an interview with the BBC this week, he defended his decision not to withdraw earlier from last year's election race. Have a look.
Should you have withdrawn earlier, given someone else a bigger chance?
I don't think it would have mattered. We left at a time when we had a good candidate. She was fully funded, and what happened was, I had become what we had set out to do. No one thought we could do, and become so successful on our agenda. It was hard to say, "No, I'm going to stop now."
He doesn't think it would have mattered if they'd given some other candidate a longer run-up at the election. He can't be serious, can he, John?
Well, what else would you say in his position? I mean, that's the only thing you can say to justify a 2.5-year cover-up about his limitations. Look, notice he didn't even bring himself to mention the words Kamala Harris. You can tell that there was not a lot of love lost between them. Secondly, you didn't have a clip yet of The View that just aired a few hours ago in the United States. That's the ABC chat show with 5 liberal ladies. That was a complete disaster. To the answer that someone asked him about the election and his accomplishments. He couldn't even finish the answer, and his wife had to step in, Jill, and fill in. And I mean, when you after the show, James, you should watch it. Trainwreck.
Absolutely. Hey, also, just from one delusional Democrat to another, Jasmine Crockett was slammed on social media after a photo shared online appeared to show her cutting the line ahead of two disabled passengers while boarding a flight in Atlanta. Now, she was asked by Fox News of the incident, and her chief of staff said they don't have any comment. But she's really on a tear here. Here's a little bit of her talking about Republicans and the KKK.
And guess what? They all align with your side.
Yep.
Including the KKK. So, like, I mean, this is who aligns with that. So, like, inherently in, like, who you are, y'all are violent. Like, y'all, and most of your violence has to do with people that's got a little bit of melanin.
John, this Jasmine Crockett, she's got to be one of the most outrageous people in Congress, and yet if she was a Republican, the media would be screaming about her, and yet we only sort of see reports of her antics and behavior on shows like this.
Well, I have a message for Congresswoman Crockett. Y'all a demagogue, and not a particularly smart one. She knows what she's doing in this sense. She knows how to get on TV. That brings fundraising dollars. That brings attention. That brings invitations to swanky left-wing soirees. So she knows what she's doing. What she does also know she's doing is this kind of behavior, as with some Congress people on the Republican side too, limits your effectiveness, means you're never going to pass legislation. You're not really working for the constituents back in your district. You're working for your future media career. Congresswoman Crockett is a crock, and be a successful one, but that's what she is.
John Fund, thank you so much as always. Always a pleasure having you here on the U.S. Report.